Alice and Lucy, will y'all come here and help me a minute? Come on. Christopher, bless your heart this morning. We got you all over the place this morning. Oh, you'll be fine. I was like, who would help me illustrate something this morning? And I was thinking, maybe Alice and Lucy. Thank y'all. How are you this morning? Good. That's good. Lucy, have you been to a new classroom? No, you haven't? Do you remember when you first went into a classroom? Pre-K? How did you feel?
I felt shy a little.
You felt a little shy? You were a little nervous? How else did you feel?
I felt happy that I got in a new class.
Okay, you felt happy that you were going to go to a new place. What about you, Alice? Have you ever been into a new classroom or a new teacher? How did you feel?
I felt kind of nervous.
You were a little nervous? Happy? Yeah?
I was very happy until I got two best friends.
You got two best friends, and that made the difference, didn't it? Well, that's what I want to kind of show a little bit this morning. Lucy, come over this way, but stay away from me.
Okay.
We're COVID. Good job. Perfect. So, Alice, you're in the classroom over there. That's the classroom, okay? You have to use your imagination. That's the classroom. And you've been there for a while. But Lucy's new to school. And so I'm going to be the principal, and I'm going to bring Lucy in to your class. Y'all are going to be in the same class. That teacher, she's in trouble. But, because y'all can talk to each other without even talking. This is awesome. So when I introduce Lucy, I want you to try to make her feel welcome to your class. Can you help me do that? And kind of introduce her maybe to, we'll pretend Bob is the teacher, and you can take Lucy up to the teacher and introduce her. Is that okay? But stay away from him. Stay distant. All right, Lucy, are you ready? Okay, let's go meet your classmates. Hey, Alice.
Yeah.
This is Lucy. She's going to be in your class. Do you think you can help her feel welcome? Would you be I've got to go somewhere. Can you help introduce her to your teacher? All right. I'll let you go over that way. Okay. That's your second and third teacher. You got 3 of them. All right. Alice, is there something fun you like to do when you get into class?
I like to take my 2 best friends outside.
Take your 2 best friends outside and go play? Well, can Lucy go with you with your 2 best friends outside to play? Okay, I appreciate it. It makes all the difference in the world when you have somebody to introduce you. Thank y'all for helping me. Let's give them a little bit of a hand. Not a performance, but an appreciation. There you go. Thanks. Y'all can go back and sit with Mom and Dad. Thanks for your willingness for live theater impromptu. Isn't that what it's called? Something like that? You know, that makes all the difference in the world. Sometimes when you go to a place and you realize that there's just nobody there you know. I always feel odd at those kind of things. Sometimes weddings make me feel that way. To go to a wedding and everybody's family's there and stuff, and there are like 4 people in the room I know. I'm like, I don't know any of these people, and I'll probably never see them again. I kind of am like, can we go ahead and eat? I'm hungry. You know how it feels? You just kind of like, oh, this is not what I was looking for. Apprehensive and yet somehow in that room full of strangers, when you realize there's somebody that you know, especially for people like me that are introverts, you're like, oh, there's my best friend. And you just want to go and talk to them and be around them. But places where you don't feel comfortable and you don't really feel welcome. I'll admit during COVID, I've been out to eat. I do pick my places fairly carefully. Places I sort of went to begrudgingly before the pandemic. I won't go in now. That those places where they're clean and the food's good and fresh and all that, I'll still go. I try to pick my time wisely. I don't go to the crowded places late Friday night or whatever, Friday evening. I'll go like Tuesday evening to these weird places, kind of off the beaten path. Kind of want to stay away. But I've kind of noticed when I go into places, and I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that we're all weary of a pandemic. Some of us are been hurt and more devastated by it than others, more affected by it. Some of us are wearier than others, and some of us are very blessed in the meantime, although it does seem like it's going on forever, even for the best of us. We go in the restaurants or go through a drive-through, and begrudgingly they look up and they see you like, oh, geez, another one. You're here. Yeah, it just kind of I don't know, it just unsettles you, and it makes you feel like, well, do you even care that I'm here? They just don't know. But then I think about it, and I try to put my place in their side. They're having to wear a mask all day, which I'm luckily not right now because y'all are all far away, and I'm not going to get to shouting. But, and we're all tired and weary. But it's kind of like, do you even see me? Do you even notice me? Do you even really care if I'm here or not? Sometimes I think the answer to that is, no, not really. We don't care because we're going to get paid the same whether you eat or not. You know how it goes. You've had that feeling before. Different places and different situations all over the place. It's like, a shopkeeper that you go in and you really want to make a purchase and they don't have time to look up from their phone or whatever they're doing to help you out just a little bit or at least greet you. Sometimes you just feel like you're just a wall or a book on the shelf that nobody pays attention to. And yet in our faith and in our understanding of what it means to be a person of faith, especially this day with this passage from the Gospel of John, we hear that Jesus isn't some hired hand, but Jesus is the Good Shepherd. Jesus isn't the one that's just there for the paycheck. Jesus isn't there for the one just on the sunny days. Jesus is there for the times that are challenging and the hardest, the darkest of night and the worst weather. Most difficult times. And somehow in the midst of that, Jesus reaches out to us. I hate to tell you, but we're a bunch of sheep. But thank goodness we have a good shepherd. The good shepherd, and if you sneak through the building after service with your mask on, I won't get you. I always love that good shepherd window that's in the hallway by the stairwell, especially in the morning of the church. Sometimes, if you're feeling low, just come on over here in the morning. Carols are here at 9 o'clock. There's still plenty of sun. You can come in and just see the sun coming from the backside of that good shepherd window in the morning sun. And it enlivens your heart. Now, I'm not saying that's what Jesus looked like. That's probably not. But that's a beautiful picture, and that's a beautiful image of the radiance of God that comes through the Good Shepherd into the world and into our lives. The Good Shepherd not only is there for the good days, for the sunny days, for the days in which it's warm, but it's also there for the cold nights and the dark nights. When the wolves are close by, you can hear them, perhaps even just breathing, not even necessarily howling, and you know that they're around. And yet somehow in the darkness of that night, there you hear the Good Shepherd. It's going to be okay, I'm here. There's a nurturing and sustaining of that. The Good Shepherd stirs in our world oftentimes in ways in which are subtle and gentle. Kind of like what I was trying to show with the help of Alice and Lucy about just the gentle spirit of transition that helps there. Just so you'll know and you begin to have a friend or know that somebody's around that cares just a little bit. Can help ease the burden of the day, help to carry you on your journey. Good Shepherd changes the perspective and understanding. of our lives and in our world. Parker Palmer, in his book, To Know as We Are Known, talks about that knowing is being known, and being known. Knowing and being known emanates from love. What begins to help us know one another and to care for each other is the fact that we care for each other in a deeper way than what we might think is superficial caring. It's not this warm, fuzzy love. You know, a box of chocolate is not necessarily love. It means we're giving you chocolate. But the sentiment behind it might be different. It's the reason that we would offer a gift to another. It's the caring nature. Nothing can fully show our caring in a tangible way necessarily, but it's an attempt to show caring and love. But this idea of love from Parker Palmer suggests is not this warm fuzzy, but it's this coming together of tissue, this connecting tissue between person and people. It's a deeper love. It's a deeper understanding. It's a public knowledge of what's going on. It's interesting that we were talking about Facebook just before service a little bit. Facebook and social media is so wonderful. There are times in which I have friends from high school that I haven't seen since high school, and we're friends on Facebook, and I can kind of loosely follow along and keep up with what's going on with them, simply because I do care. I'm interested for the most part. Sometimes they do stuff that just makes me shake my head. But even in this interconnectivity, it's still like there's an issue of loneliness that still abounds in our world. These things are substitutes really for true connection. I mean, I need not tell some of you the devastation and aggravation of being home alone during COVID forever and ever, it seems. But I take some comfort in understanding from history in that just when all this started, I was reading it back in April, May. I started a book that some of you've read. It's Eric Larson's new book. Now I've completely forgotten the name of it. About Winston Churchill. It's awesome. And it's really interesting. And part of the process of that is talks about how London went through the blackouts every night for 4 years. And I keep resonating in my mind, how in the world could you keep something up for 4 years? And now we have 25% of an understanding of that. I mean, you have to be dedicated, and you have to keep working and keep going, knowing that there is something better just a little bit further out, a willingness to work for something better. And they did it. They did it for the good of everybody. So it's a reminder to us and a reminder to me that, they had a bigger challenge in some ways, and yet they did it. And so surely to goodness, I can, stay safe and distance and keep distance and wear a mask, even though it's more uncomfortable sometimes and I feel like it's doing good. I still wear it because I care for other people. It's just a little bit that I can do to help out because I care. I've got vested interest in other people. It's not just about what I want. It's what I prefer. It's about us. And part of that interconnectivity comes from the fact that I follow after the Good Shepherd. And I realize when I look around that even though people don't look like me, they might be a different variety than me, and hopefully they talk a lot better than I do most of the time. Proper English, a little bit of accent. But in that meantime, that we're all still part of the same group of sheep. We should all care for one for another, just as the shepherd cares for us. That's the idea. That's the understanding. It's not lost on me that this passage comes to us during the season of Easter. I'm like, what in the world does a sheep and a shepherd have to do with Easter? I'm ready for flowers and chocolates and bunnies. Not really. But the Good Shepherd comes to us at Easter because part of what was offered on Good Friday was the Paschal Lamb as a sacrificial offering. This candle that we burn during the season of Easter is called the Paschal Candle, the Easter candle. The gift of the sacrifice that we're reminded of, but also the power of Christ alive in the world. And I think what I most heard in this passage is that Jesus chose to lay down his life and chose to take it up again. The interconnectivity between God and Christ and the Spirit's working, even though my mind can't comprehend and can't understand fully, that Christ is at work and God is at work through Christ and the Spirit is at work all at the same time. In the suffering on the cross and in the resurrection. That this Good Shepherd is alive to care for us continues to offer to us that love and support and encouragement. Offers to us forgiveness and love. Offers to us a new way of living that's without end. Margaret Mead writes a bit of encouragement for us. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, is the only thing that ever has. You know, when we connect to each other, when we connect to God, when we continue to work in the world, when we don't give up, when we continue on because we know that the way of Christ carries us, and Christ leads us to where we need to go. Christ offers to us strength and courage. There is a changing in the world. There's a newness of the world. There's a newness of a lens. There's a renewing of the spirit and renewing of life that takes place. Oh, the power of Christ. And it's not just because of some kind of superficial connection, but it's that intimate knowledge and knowing and caring that makes a difference in our lives and for our world. There's another quote that comes to mind, and I try to remember it as often as possible. What the world needs now are more people who specialize in the impossible. You know, yes, we can. We can do it. We know we can. Part of us as people of faith, as part of Christians, realize that through the power of the gift of the Spirit, the work of Christ in the world. We continue to go on, and knowing that the Good Shepherd calls to us and offers to us the love and the grace, and to know that we also reach out into other parts of the world and other parts of people's lives because we care about them. For we know the Shepherd, and they know the Shepherd and have opportunity to know the Shepherd and can move forth into a new way of living and loving into the world. Oh, glory, honor, and power be to the one who was, who is, and who is to come. Amen.